Okay, so right now we will have our interviews to teacher Veron, which is my secondary school teacher. So before we start, I would like to introduce my teammate and me to teachers first, and maybe teachers to do the favor to introduce yourself a bit. So I'm Jason, and I'm one of the members of this group. And then there's Harshvena, Mitha, and Anussry. So they are my classmate in the class. So we form a group to perform this assignment. So how about you, teacher?
Okay, so I'm Veron Jungkim. So I'm an English teacher. I've been teaching for almost 30 years. Actually, this year will be my 30th years, okay, teaching. So I think your mom is even longer than me, okay? It's a long service, soon to retire, okay? Maybe in 2 years' time, soon to retire. Okay, I've been teaching in, my first posting is in SM KEN HWA, and this is my second school, KEN HWA, and it's also my previous secondary school. Okay, so all right, Jason? Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Who has the first question?
Yeah, it's me. Hi, madam.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Happy Teachers' Day.
Happy Teachers' Day to you too.
Thank you.
Soon the teacher, right?
Future teachers.
Okay.
So
yeah, soon teachers to be.
Yeah. Can I begin with my questions?
Yeah, sure.
So my first question will be, each students have different level of their proficiency in both listening and speaking in English. So how do you design your lesson plan to suit their various level?
Okay, so as I told just now, so we are more depends on the book, that is the CAFR textbook, okay? And our schools, it's already, the students are already streamed into their level of proficiency. So only for the class, which is those intermediate class, where there are quite the mixed ability there. All right, so but then someone will face some problems there. Sometimes we face some problems there, because even though they are in the intermediate class, but their strength, the subject that they are good in might not be English. Okay, might be other subjects. So there what I can do is usually I will get some materials from the workbooks. Okay, workbooks. So that is we call as non-textbook. All right, but of course I will involve the good students as well. Means the good student, they will do two types of listening activity. All right, I will talk about listening activity first. So means they will start up with an easier one, and then with the a difficult one. So that is for the intermediate class. Whereby for the weaker students, weaker class, I will see if some of the words, I will listen to the audio first. With some of the words where we found it's quite difficult for them to understand, before they listen to that audio, so I will just introduce to them the words, introduce and explain to them. Okay, so also they will be listened to the easier text one, audio, and after that they will proceed with the difficult one. So because I think they need to have this type of practice, the easier one and the difficult one, because we don't know what type of question they might get in their listening exam soon when they are in Form 3. So same as for the speaking one, for the speaking activity, for me, I will be using the same materials, but my requirement for the intermediate students, better students, and the weaker students are different. Okay, whereby for the, of course, my requirement for the better students are in terms of vocabulary. And in terms of ideas, means I want them to give me more ideas. I want them to use a better a bigger vocabulary. All right. Okay. When for the weaker students, so okay, so but I never tell them that I never limit their ideas. But if they can, of course, they can give me more ideas. If they cannot, so we just say, you look at this picture, what you can give me 3 to 5 sentences. Okay, just pick out whatever words that you can use, you just use. Okay, so as long as your message is delivered, we can understand you. So that is how I do my listening. I don't really design my my activity according to their level of proficiency. Okay, because sometimes it's quite difficult. All right, quite difficult. So I just do like by requirement for each level of proficiency, students are different. Okay, it's only that. Okay.
Thank you. So what type of learning strategies do you commonly use to guide students with different levels of proficiency?
Okay, so what type of approach? Okay, so now is more to, of course, more to student-centered, right? So as like what I told just now, for those activity, whatever activity, for like listening and speaking, so I think I already told just now. So like different level of proficiency will be using, can you hear me? Yeah. Okay, so we'll be using just like same materials, but what we did is explanation. So we explain, we give them clear instruction for students and the requirement. Okay, so what I want is you, okay, get them involved, let them talk, let them speak. We don't require them to give a lot of ideas, or we don't require them to use bombastic words, vocabulary, as long as they can deliver, as long as they can communicate. Okay, so in the group. So involvement of students. So I will put them, I don't straight away let them do individual speaking activity. I don't let them come near me and you talk. Usually we start with 3 or 4 in the group first, let them feel comfortable. And after that, we slowly narrow down our group, means we make it smaller group, 4, 3, and 2. Because in the exam, in PT3 exam, they are in partners, 2 of them. Okay, so we never let them do 1-to-1. Okay, unless the students is very shy, then I have to call him out or call her out to speak. Okay, I do have students like this, even though they are in Form 3. Okay, okay. Did I answer your questions?
Yes, very.
Okay. Okay.
I will go next. My next question for you is, in your opinion, what are the obstacles faced by the students in enhancing their listening and speaking skills?
Okay. All right. So this one is actually what our problem in school. So one is students, the problem is the obstacles that they face is they only listen to us, they only speak the language at school, only during English lesson, but not other language and no other subjects, or at home outside the classroom, they do not use English. So that is why that is what their limits means. They only have a chance to listen during the English lesson. So that is why what I found out my students, the problem is when they listen, most of the time they cannot get the correct answers. Why? Because they listen without understanding. They don't even understand because they are not exposed to the language when they are outside the classroom. Okay, so how to enhance them is other than at school. So what we hope is they go back home, they will listen to them. I mean, they will have chance, they will communicate, or they will use the language, which is very impossible. So what we did at school is we speak English, try to let them understand. If they cannot understand, we use simpler English, okay? Sometimes there's no other ways, of course, you need to do a translation, but lots of listening activities. Okay, like every chapters, they are listening activities. So we cannot skip that. We cannot skip that. We let them listen. If they cannot, you play 2 times, they still cannot get the answer. For me, I will play 3 to 4 times, as long as until they can get the answer. So that's the only way. And then involve a lot of activities, like since they like songs, let them choose the songs that they like. So if it is appropriate, you can use this music to let them. I mean, India, to bring, in our teaching, learning in class. So we let them choose the songs if it is related to the topic, so we can use that one. Okay, all right. Okay, is that okay?
Yes, okay. So, how do you encourage students with difficulties like shyness and low confidence? Like just now you said you call out their name to speak, right? So what is the other way to overcome their fears and participate in the listening and speaking activities?
Okay, my question is for you first, yeah? Do you believe that if I put you a good students and a very weak in English students to be in a group or to be a pair, so do you think that will help? Do you think that will help?
No, the good
Why?
one will be stand out. The good one will stand out more.
Yeah, they will dominant, right? But then, okay, and then the weaker one will get the, even they will not have the confidence, right? So
Yes,
that is,
yeah.
that is why for me in my class, I will not put the good one with the weaker one. I will not put, let them with their almost the same proficiency to be together. Okay, so let them talk. So I will just go, I will not sit down with them, but I will just go around but I will pay attention, listen to them. If they don't use English, I will say, okay, use English, use English. Okay, so I have a better class last year in English, okay, better class. Most of them are good at maths and science and also BM, but not in English, even though they are in the A class, okay. So only 5 of them are the best one. So the 5 of them, I never put them to help the friends. This is really wrong, I tell you. They will not help. They will not help. Okay. And the students, the friend will be dependent on them, writing the answers for them, and they just read. So usually I will just put, they are almost the same proficiency to be together. The first one is let them gain their confidence first. When they have the confidence, they feel comfortable, even though they think that how broken, how not good their English, also they can speak, they can deliver the message. Because what I told them is, I only want you to deliver your message. What the questions when you just deliver the message. I don't need other things. I just want you to speak to deliver the message, and we can understand. Even you use a simple English, also we can understand. Even your grammar is wrong, it's fine. It's fine.
So overcome the fear first before increasing your abilities. All right.
They must have the confidence first. They must have the confidence before they go further. They must have the confidence.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, madam. My next question. Okay, before that, can you hear me? It's really heavy rain over here.
Oh, I can hear you, but can you hear me?
Yeah.
The line is a bit like very laggy. I think your connection is not.
Or maybe it's my.
You can't hear me.
I can hear you.
Yeah, you can't hear me. Okay, I can hear you too, but it's quite laggy. Your line is quite laggy.
It's heavy rain
okay.
over here. Sorry for that.
Okay. No.
Okay.
You are not in Sabah right now.
Oh, no, I'm from Johor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So far away.
I know. So my next question is, do you practice the target language throughout the entire lesson, or just speak in different language to guide the students? I mean, do you use their mother tongue, for example, use Malay or Mandarin to make them more understandable, or just follow with the English lesson?
Okay, that is impossible. I frankly tell you that is impossible for me to use the target language for the entire lesson. I think you are students before. I think sometimes the teacher will be, right? So we tried for the better class, we tried, but because I'm teaching in Chinese school, so the students try to speak Chinese to me, but when they ask question, of course I will ignore. They ask question their mother tongue or other language, of course I will ignore. Okay, so I want them to speak English. But for me, sometimes I'm facing difficulty usually in the weaker students, which they can't really understand. They can't really understand. For example, the word amazing, that was a few weeks ago. I tried to explain the word amazing, action all come out, still they cannot understand. So I have enough. Okay, I said I give up. I told them, okay, teacher, give up. Now I speak to them in BM and Mandarin. Everyone, oh, and they clap their hands. So that is impossible for us to use, because sometimes students, when they don't really understand, they will feel tired. Okay, they're tired, and then they will lose their concentration. Okay, so sometimes we have no choice. We have to use also, but we explain in our mother tongues. Of course, the meaning we still have to write on the board to let them write down and to let them read. So what I usually do, so I write the meaning on the board, even though I explain in BM or in Chinese Mandarin. So, but I still ask them to copy down and to repeat the word or the sentence. Okay.
So my next question is that, do you prefer using authentic materials or follow the activities in the textbook while conducting the oral lesson?
For the oral lesson, depends. Sometimes we use authentic material, sometimes we just follow the book. Okay, but and also depends on the level of proficiency students. Okay, let's say I want them to talk about celebration. I'm teaching celebration, this topic. Okay, so what I bring in is pictures of what happening, the celebration that we celebrate in our country, or like in Sabah. I just right now we are celebrating Harvest Festival, so I just bring in pictures or videos, just show them. Okay, what step by step of when is it, what the student can do, what the people will do during the celebration. So we bring in things like this. But sometimes we also use what is from the book. What is from the book? So we mix. Actually, we mix. We use both.
Nice. Okay, so far we have discussed about the methods and our approaches, but now I would like to ask you, how do you evaluate your students' listening and speaking skills? How do you test them?
We test them for the speaking. Okay, for the speaking, of course, usually we give them materials, they speak, and we listen to them in class. Usually we do in class. Okay, but during the PDPR, now is the online classes. For my speaking test is, what I did is, I let them, okay, let's say we talk about relationship, special relationship, what I did last year and just a few weeks ago. So I give them the topic before that, and then I explain what they want. And I show them the video that I talk about my relationship with my family. Then after that, I let them know that that is a PBD, means I will do evaluation, the school-based assessment. Okay, so how I did with them is, they have to talk, they have to take down, they have to do recording, they said to me. So this is during this pandemic season. Okay, so I evaluate them through their grammar, the pronunciation and everything, of course, and then the content. that is how I am doing for this during this period. But in class, of course, I will let them to sit in pairs, and then we evaluate their speaking activity. Other than that, I also did for the weaker students. Ask them to look at the picture. They will ask their friends to write. So what I did is I let them they play games. Okay, for example, like, okay, you start the story. Start with you give them the beginning of the story on the board. You write on the board. So they have to think. Every student have to think. Okay, so I tell them, okay, today I'll go for students start with alphabetical order. So the students A, you have to prepare what is the next question. So they are prepared. The next line, so they are prepared. So that is the basic one. I don't ask them to, one student is only one sentence or two sentences if they are better. They come up with one or two sentences. So we listen to their stories. Of course, then we can evaluate them through their speaking. Okay, so students not unable to give any sentence or what. So let them think again. Then I said, I will come back to you. So that is how we evaluate speaking. Sometimes I evaluate speaking. Then for listening, of course, we use audio for listening, or we can play games too. Okay, like they are sending messages. Okay, listen, that is listening. Okay, that is listening. Of course, this only in a group, small group, like 5 students. So they will pass the message through listening. They will whisper. So after that, after they whisper, they have to write down. So we see what are the sentences that they get. Is it correct or not? So from that, we can practice their listening first before we go for the actual listening activity. That is for my introduction of lessons, and then we go for the development. So you listen, you come up with a questionnaire with a question, maybe activity like true false questions, or they have to listen and they have to choose answers. Then you start that one. So that is very basic activities, listening activity that I did in class. And then how to evaluate, of course, from the worksheet, listening, or from what they have heard, they write down. So that is how we evaluate our listening. Okay, I hope I'm giving you the correct answers, the correct one. Jason?
Yeah, I think it's okay. So from your experience, what are the challenges you have faced in teaching our oral skills, and how did you overcome them, like in the class or something, or maybe teaching me?
What is the obstacle? What is the difficulty that I face? Of course, I think not only me, other teachers also. Students don't understand. They listen without understanding. Okay, all right. So they just listen but without understanding. So then there's, like I told you. So we have to start from the easier one. Then slowly we proceed to the difficult one. But what is the problem now is in this book, the CEFR, the audio, I mean the accent, the audio, the accent is not Malaysian context, not the Malaysian accent. That is the British accent. So that is the problem that students cannot understand. So what for the weaker students, after they listen, okay, we have teachers book. So I have to read. I have to read the text to make them understand. But they don't read, they only listen. I just read. So that is how we conduct. So that is the difficulty. They listen without understanding. That is our program. But for better students, some better one, they still can give, they still can understand. Okay, but most of the students, they don't understand. Okay, what's the problem here? I just tell you. They listen in class, they listen to audio, which is not our accent. But in their PT3 exam, that is Malaysian accent. Okay, so I'm quite confused. Student might get confused. Don't you think so? They're quite confused. But some students, they said, oh, after 2 years of listening all this British accent, now our PT3 exam, we listen to the Malaysian English, that is much easier. Some they said it's easier. That's advantage for them, right? But it's quite unfair for the students like the Form 1 and Form 2, where they have to listen to the British accent. Okay, so sometimes we teachers also, we have to listen a few times. All right. Okay.
I don't understand what my teacher says when I was studying.
Yeah.
I don't know. I will end up being a teacher right now. I also don't know. I didn't guess that when I was studying.
Okay. Well, that is good. And if I'm your teacher, I'll be proud. My students become an English teacher. I'll be proud. Really, really. Like Jason, I'm proud that he's brave enough to take the challenge to be an English teacher.
Yeah. So this will be the last question, madam. So you have taught for almost more than 30 years. What teaching strategy you will recommend to us as a future teachers?
Can you repeat the question? I cannot hear.
What type of teaching strategies will you recommend us as a future teachers?
Okay, so for me, there is none one best way or best strategies or method or techniques to teach students. Okay, what for me is, it depends on your students. Depends on your students. If you are getting a weaker students, of course you have to think of your students' needs. So when we design our lesson, when we plan our lesson, remember, when we are writing down our lesson plan, behind the paper, behind the books, they are students, they are individuals. So we are teaching, not that we shock somebody, we want to teach the students, oh, I'm a teacher, I want to shock somebody, but what we want is for the students, not for us. So if you ask me what strategies, I can't really give you one good strategy because it depends on students. Another one is get students' involvement. One best way is to get students involved. Teach student-centered, based on student-centered, not teacher-centered. Get the involvement of students, give them confidence in learning. Okay, so when they have confidence, they will start to like your lesson. Of course, I think your lesson will be the best one. So you can get the whatever strategies it is. Okay, so I had once, I just share you the experience. With my students, I've been teaching in this very weak class. That was, they are going to, they're in Form 3. So Form 1, Form 2, I wasn't the English teacher. When come to Form 3, I look at the head counts. It's only less than 10 students passed. So what I did is, they totally cannot understand English. They cannot understand. So that was PT3, no, not PT3 exam, that was a PMR. So I think you all are PMR candidates, right? Those days, are you PMR, right?
I'm first year of PT3.
Okay, so
Second, I don't remember already.
Okay, so the PMR, when in the PMR exam, there is one part, 10 questions, where you need to fill in, to choose words. That is multiple choice questions, so you have to choose answers. So what I did to them is I let them do, and then they will check the answers together. And then I give them the correct answer. When they get the correct answer, they have to write the text with the correct answer in their exercise book. Okay, so that is one thing. So get them, and then after they finish, they read. After they finish, they read. So that is actually, when I did that so many years, I didn't know what is the name of the techniques. Until one day, a principal, Madam Chia, came to the school. When she saw me doing that, he told me, Veron, do you know that what techniques you are using? I said, I don't know. I don't know. What is the name of the technique? I don't know. But actually that techniques is called Sophia techniques, which I don't know. But I just use this to drill the students, Okay. Okay, when drill the students, they read, they write, they read. Slowly, they pick up the grammar, the language. So in the end, 28 of them, I only have 11 fails in the English. Okay, so that is, I think, a technique that is effective for the weaker students. Okay, all right. Okay, Jason.
Thank you so much for your answers and all your time. It was really great to have an interview with you. We really didn't expect so much answers and tips from you because we expected a few answers, but you gave us more than just what we needed. Thank you so much, madam. And also
Okay, thank you. Thank you also to all of you, the future teachers. Okay, for me is I'm proud to see young teachers to take up the TESL courses. So in my school, we don't have enough English teacher. So we are hoping every year, many English teacher, the young one will come to our schools, but none. So looking at you, these young people, the future English teacher, I'm very proud of you all. Okay, all right, overcome your limits, take the challenge. I'm sure one day you all will be a good teachers. Good teacher.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jason will be
Okay, so how do I give you the material? Do you want me to, maybe Jason can send me the email, so I'll give you a few, what are the things that you need. The materials for the listening speaking material, I need to ask my Pentaksian Negeri if she allows. So maybe I will give you, but I need to ask the permission from her. Okay, is that okay?
Yeah.
Is that okay? Okay, all right.